Hello, my friend. I am so excited to dive into this week's podcast episode for you on this week's astrology. Oh my goodness. How was that full moon in Gemini for you? Because let me tell you, when I said it was going to be chaotic from December 6th to the 15th, I really meant it. I felt like I was such in a haze. I felt really tired, really burnt out. Even though I was taking breaks, I was rearranging my time, I was resting. So just know that you're not alone if you also felt quite drained and just overwhelmed by the communication. Now, in this week's episode, I'll be diving into the transits of this week. I will then give you a sneak preview of 2025's astrology. Super excited for that. Just a small taste. And then I will end off this podcast episode with a tarot reading of what energy to embrace, what energy to let go of. So let's just dive right into it. Starting off with December 15th. Now, I know I already talked about that full moon in Gemini, yet Mercury has ended its retrograde yesterday on December 15th. So this is a good time to reflect on what was happening for you on November 7th. 2024. Are you seeing a different situation in a new perspective? I do hope things calm down for you this week. I definitely think they will, because we won't have both Mercury and Mars retrograde like they were last week. Yet this is still a good time to slow down, since we'll still be in this Mars retrograde in Leo. Now, definitely reflect on, what do you see differently? What do you feel has been limiting your growth? Do you need to reassess this in any way? Is this about taking a course, taking a mentorship, traveling, going back to school, tuning back into your spirituality? Really reflect on these themes. Now, on December 18th, we have the Sun in Sagittarius square Neptune in Pisces. So we've already been feeling this with that full moon in Gemini, yet this really can feel confusing. This can feel a bit intense. You could just really wipe out. Please take extra vitamins. Please take care of your health this week. Neptune is super confusing, super foggy. Now, Neptune does rule over the arts, so this is still very creative energy. You could just feel in a trance. You could feel perhaps just in a daze, or maybe some lust about a relationship. This is super possible. Yet I also see this energy more so as us really not sure about a relationship. This could look like love bombing. This could look like us really trying to understand the truth of a matter, but we're not getting the facts. We're not seeing things clearly. So even though that full moon in Gemini might bring up some clarity for us, Neptune really is like not yet. So I want you to tune into what your intuition is telling you to do at this moment, to still slow down and to not make any rash decisions. This is a good time to take care of your body and your health. I really see this as us maybe being a little bit overwhelmed with the holidays. Maybe you're just feeling like there's so much energy, you're just overwhelmed by everything happening. Take this time to pace yourself. Very important, and just make sure you're taking your vitamins, you are eating healthy, doing things that nourish your body. Now on December 20th, we have Venus in Aquarius trine Jupiter in Gemini. Okay, so I think this is my favorite transit of this month. I've actually been looking forward to this transit all month. Yet, if you felt like payments were delayed or sales were delayed, or you just felt really frustrated by this, if you have your own business, this is a really lovely boost in this area. This is a really uplifting energy, especially around friendships and communication. So if you do communication work, you might just feel very inspired. This could also look like going to a party and just feeling really joyous, feeling like it's really fun, really flirty, really out there, this is also us indulging in some areas like this. So maybe you're just indulging in communication. Maybe you're reading like 10 audiobooks, or you're in a place where you want to just soak in and be in flow of what you're creating for yourself. This is also a possibility. Yet I really see this as us really tuning into our relationships, going to parties, also just being inspired and really valuing that curiosity, future-oriented ideas, really soaking in, okay, no, I have a really strong community. I'm so grateful for this. And seeing the abundance of the community around us and how this is really, really powerful. So honestly, one of my favorite transits of this month. Now on December 21st, Capricorn season begins, and this is going to shift our collective energy to have this strong focus on staying grounded, going back to tradition, really understanding the importance of reputation, the importance of legacy, the importance of hierarchies. And I say this as maybe this is going to help us rethink hierarchy in our life and structures and systems in our life. Now, I think it's really funny because when we think of Capricorn energy, we think of someone who's hustling and working hard and is really on top of things. Yet, when I think of Capricorn energy, just based off my Capricorn friends, but also when I've given readings to Capricorn suns, I really see this energy as understanding the importance of rest, understanding the importance of having fun. You're working hard, yes, for a reason. It's going to pay off long term. However, if you're not enjoying life, if you are all about work, this is going to really impact the work you do. This is going to really impact how you move about life. So the Capricorns I know really understand the importance of being mindful, being present, and enjoying life, because ultimately, yes, we have to work hard. I know some Capricorns are some of the hardest workers, yet it's also understanding that you have to have fun in the process. And I say this that maybe not all Capricorns are perceived this way. Maybe it's not about fun, but maybe the definition of fun is different for them. I see this as tuning into your work as something that really fulfills you, something that you find fun, yet knowing when to take a break, knowing when to rest, because rest is very productive. And I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of people around this time are taking time off, because there is this extreme energy of us trying to finish a lot of work before the holidays. And then there's this period of stillness and quietness. And we have to kind of consider this with Capricorn season and the importance of this, of nature. Capricorn is an earth sign, so this is really tuning into our environment and understanding what we need to bring into our life when it comes to this. Maybe you need more time in nature. Maybe you need time to redecorate your home and make it super cozy. I also see this energy as us kind of stepping into our own inner authority. How are you not recognizing yourself as an authority figure? How can you own up and take responsibility for your life? I see this as more so a Saturn lesson, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So if you feel like you just don't know why certain things are happening for you, you feel as though it's been frustrating that you're not seeing how you can own up and take accountability for your life and change your life for the better, I want you to ask yourself, okay, what can you do for yourself? How can you see that there's more to life? How can you tune into what is working in your life? This is just great to consider right now. I really see Capricorn season as honestly a really busy work season, even though strangely enough, it's during the holidays. And I don't think there's a coincidence where if you read up statistics for major companies, most sales happen around this time. It's because people want to use up their budgets, people get more excited for the new year, even though the astrological new year is for Aries season. Yet, this is a really good reminder for us to slow down and also figure out how can you balance out working hard and tuning into what you are responsible for, yet also being responsible for taking breaks for yourself, pacing yourself, slowing things down. Really good to consider right now. So those are our transits for this week. I wanted to do something different for this week's episode and just talk a little bit about 2025's astrology. Now, hopefully, when this podcast episode is released, I would have your 2025 horoscopes out. If not, they'll be out very, very soon. So I'll leave a link to them down below. And I want to go through the major changes of 2025 because a lot is changing for us. I actually might host a free 2025 workshop on the astrology of 2025. If this is something you're interested in, please make sure you're subscribed to my Substack, where I send out my newsletters, my emails. If you're listening to this on Spotify or YouTube, make sure you're on my Substack so you can get notified of that workshop. And I really want to share more about the astrology of 2025 because a lot is happening. A lot of change is happening. And if you're someone who does not deal well with change, buckle up because it is going to be a very eventful year. Your life will change. And I say this with so much certainty in my body because there's just so many planets shifting signs in 2025. I first want to start off with this Mars in Leo retrograde. So Mars will continue to be retrograde in the sign of Leo until January 6th, 2025, and then it will retrograde back into the sign of Cancer until February 24th, 2025. So when I look at this for us, if you own a business, this is us really rethinking how we run our businesses, really reworking this area, understanding that we have to work in a different way, understanding that we have to tune into something that makes more sense for us intuitively, especially with Mars going back into Cancer. Mars retrograde in Leo to start off this year is us tuning into our inner child, our creativity. What do we really want to do that's more fun when we think about work? Now, in the aspect of dating, I will give you a heads up that for some of you, I will go through this in your 2025 horoscope. For some of you, this could mean reconnecting with someone from your past. May this be an ex or perhaps an old friend, and understanding that relationship in a different way. Again, Mars retrogrades are here to help us with our unprocessed anger. How are you reacting to situations? Are you bottling things up? Are you ignoring the problem? Are you avoiding being angry? How are you moving your body? That is going to be really important right now. So take time for yourself with this Mars retrograde. We don't want to rush. We don't want to go, go, go. That's going to be really, really important. Now, what's also happening in 2025 is Saturn enters Aries from May 25th to September 1st. Now, I will dive deeper into this in the 2025 workshop. Yet I want to mention this is if you have your Saturn in Aries, you will be going through your Saturn return. You will be starting your Saturn return. So this is exciting. This is exciting. Maybe not for everyone. Yet this is good to consider because that will be a pivotal time in your life. And Saturn returns really help us adult up and take more responsibility for our life. I really see Saturn in Aries as us getting more serious about entrepreneurship, getting more serious about our systems and structures when it relates to deeply understanding who we are and tuning back into the power we have as individuals. Now, Chiron will still be in Aries during this time, so that's going to be another thing that I'll be talking about in this upcoming workshop, because Chiron in Aries has been having us really deeply heal our sense of worthiness. And wherever Chiron is transiting in your chart, it is in Aries, so you would check the Aries part of your chart. That is where you could have felt very triggered in the last few years when it began to enter Aries in 2019. So with Saturn now joining Chiron here, we're trying to deeply heal our relationship to authority. We're trying to deeply heal our systems and structures when it comes to processing our sense of worthiness of what we want to build for ourselves. Saturn really thinks about the long-term goals. With Saturn entering Aries, we are going to really focus on how we see ourselves. How are you building yourself up to be the person you want to become? This is going to be a huge, huge theme. Now, what's also happening is Jupiter will enter Cancer on June 9th, 2025. So this is super lovely. Jupiter loves being in the sign of Cancer. So there's this abundance with Jupiter in Cancer. There's this lovely, lovely energy of expansion and growth and opportunity when it comes to our intuition, our creativity, our sense of home. But it's also this easier flow of abundance. It's feeling abundant. And when you're able to connect to the feeling of abundance, that's when things trickle in such a beautiful, beautiful way. I think Jupiter entering Cancer is one of my favorite transits of 2025. I also want to say, as a Libra rising, I've been looking forward to 2025 since 2019. I was looking at the astrology of 2025 years ago. So yes, if you are a Cancer rising or you have a lot of Cancer placements, this is a really lovely boost. So I am super, super excited for this energy. I will leave a link to my Maximize Your Magnetism course, activating your Jupiter sign for opportunities and growth in your relationships and career, if you want to deep dive into how to use this energy for your advantage with Jupiter entering Cancer. Now, what's also happening is Uranus will enter Gemini for a small period of time in 2025, and this is going to really shake things up. This will happen between July 7th to November 8th, and Uranus is the planet of innovation, revolution, shocking breakthroughs. This is the planet of rebellion. So this is going to really stir things up. This is major, honestly. We are going to get a really big shakeup when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to our communication, when it comes to what is the truth. I really see this as us seeing more propaganda around the world. So I want us to be cautious of this and really understand that we're going to have to be more discerning with the information we consume. You might also just get really sudden information coming at you. So this is going to really change the game for us when it comes to technology in the form of communication. Super interesting to see what happens. I'll dive deeper into the history of Uranus in Gemini very, very soon. Now there's more. If you thought that was a lot already, we also have Neptune entering Aries from March 30th to October 22nd. And this is really interesting. I honestly think this is going to be a very confusing transit because Neptune is the planet of confusion and illusion, and it's no longer going to be in its home in the sign of Pisces. So with Neptune entering Aries, I think this is still going to be a beautiful, beautiful time for us to tune into our own sense of spirituality and to kind of visualize the people we want to become and tune into source energy from this to make this happen. But I also see this as people could potentially get blinded by only thinking of themselves, being trapped in an illusion of being self-centered. Or this could be a very big extreme of this energy of, oh my goodness, I just want to think about what I can gain. And this could be a bit tricky because Aries also rules over war. So we have to really consider that things can get more confusing. And when I see Pluto now fully in Aquarius for next year, I am personally very excited with someone who has Saturn in Aquarius. Yet it's also understanding that a revolution happens when there's a low, because something needs to change to switch over the power to the people. Something needs to change and get to that point for all of us to stand up and rise up. So I do think Neptune entering Aries is going to contribute to this. Yet I want us to focus on the benefits of this, of using this as creative inspiration, of tuning into our own power, our own sense of spirituality, and seeing more of this higher vibration from people, from individuals, to get to a different point in our life. So there's this beautiful power with this energy too. Now, what's also happening in 2025 is Venus will go retrograde in the sign of Aries, and then it will retrograde back into Pisces. So Venus retrogrades only happen around every 18 months. If you are a Libra rising or a Taurus rising, you're really going to feel this shift. I know I definitely felt the previous Venus retrograde in Leo, which happened in 2022. Yet this retrograde is going to help us rethink our values. What kind of relationships are good for us? And what do we need to shift when it comes to the energy we put out in our relationships? How are we going to change our money mindset during this time? I feel as though Venus retrograde in Aries might feel a bit more challenging than Venus going retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Yet I think this is going to be really helpful for us. I think there's going to be a lot of relationship healing during the Venus retrograde in Aries, with Chiron also being in Aries. And this is ultimately going to help us understand what we need in a relationship. How can we show ourselves more love and compassion? And how can we go back to what we truly wanted as a kid? So really good to consider. This will be happening from March 2nd to April 13th. Now, we still have more change in 2025. This is a huge, huge year. Oh my goodness, there's just so much change. And I will say, honestly, getting prepared for this change is going to help you so much in terms of your goals for 2025. If this is something you want help with, you could check out my Boldest You mentorship program, because I'm helping entrepreneurs in the wellness and creative space really utilize astrology for their businesses. I'll leave a link to that down below if you want help or support in this area, or if you just want a 2025 reading to just understand the major themes that will happen for you in 2025 so that you can plan ahead, so that you can understand where to put your focus. Then I just have a few spots left for February. I decided to really put my schedule to prioritize my mentorship clients in January. So February, I'll have a few last spots for 2025 readings before they're gone for the rest of the year until next year. And they'll shift back into birth chart reading. So if you wanted a specialized reading to understand how 2025 will impact your birth chart specifically, this is for you. I'll leave a link to that down below. And the final thing I want to touch on with the astrology of 2025 is the nodes are also changing signs. So we'll have a new series of eclipses happening in 2025. So we'll have our last eclipse with a partial solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th. This will wrap up a series of eclipses that have been happening for you over the last 2 years. These are pivotal times. Eclipses bring in fated events, and with a solar eclipse in Aries, this is going to be a huge brand new beginning for you, ending this chapter for you. Now, the nodes will shift from Aries and Libra to Pisces and Virgo, and the North Node will be in Pisces, the South Node in Virgo. So this energy is going to have us really letting go and understanding our focus for the next 2 years will be around letting go of perfectionism, letting go of judgment, letting go of criticality, letting go of what we believe to be true about the physical world. When we tune into the North Node in Pisces, we will be really focused on tuning into our sense of spirituality, tuning into our dreams, tuning into what we're still healing from. How can you visualize what you actually want and understand that time is an illusion? We're going to see this mass change in 2025 where we're starting to see time collapse. I really understand this energy as us seeing our potential in a different way, seeing what's possible for us. It is dreaming big with this energy, yet it's also us being more attuned with our intuition, our emotions, and sensitivity, and listening to that, focusing on that instead of overthinking a situation with the South Node in Virgo. So we're having this collective shift in this area. I'll dive so much deeper into this in the 2025 workshop, yet I hope this was a good preview for you in terms of what to expect for 2025, to get excited, to know that there's going to be a lot that's changing for us. Yet I hope it does make you excited for that change too. Remember, change is constant, whether you like it or not, yet it's understanding how to be intentional with that change that can get you so far in your life, knowing what to focus on, knowing how to really embrace your life in a way that's meaningful, that's powerful, that's exciting, but also true to your authentic self, to your authentic path in life. Now, I did pull you some tarot cards for this week, so it's so interesting. The first card out, I always see this card as the Family Patterns card. So this is a card of us really letting go of being attached to a certain family member. Maybe you're learning more about your attachment style and how you were raised for this to kind of take place for you. So this is a card of us letting go of being attached to what our family thinks of us, being attached to having to repeat certain relationship patterns that we've seen from our family. I really see this card as us understanding that sometimes you have to let tradition go. I say this because Capricorn season begins this week. So this is a card of knowing that, yes, sometimes it's great to follow tradition, but if you're going through loss or grief, like quite a few of us have gone through, that can be really difficult. That can be extremely difficult unless you make your own tradition, unless you really listen to what your body needs. What do you emotionally need during the holidays? I think we talk about the beauty and the nostalgia and the festivities of the holidays, yet sometimes the holidays can be extremely lonely for those with small families, for those who have family far away, for those of us who have lost a certain member of our family. I want you to consider this when connecting with our friends and our community during this time, because it can be hard. So maybe that's inviting someone out to family dinner or holiday dinner. Maybe that is checking in on a friend. Maybe that is really honoring yourself and feeling as though if your body is telling you you can't do something or you have to leave early if a situation gets stressful, listen to your body. I'm giving you permission to listen to your body of If you feel like it's going to be so stressful for you to see a certain member of your family, give yourself permission that you could leave a situation when you need to. I sometimes need this reminder, yet I hope this helps us just talk more openly about how the holidays can be beautiful and magical, but they can also be difficult and hard. And that's the duality of the season. The next card out is the Six of Pentacles. So it looks like there's this relationship where you feel like you've done so much, but you're not receiving that much in return. This is a card of feeling as though there's so much that needs to be balanced out. Maybe you've done so much work in your company, in your business, or for the work you do, yet maybe you feel like you're not being rewarded for the work you're doing. Maybe you feel like you're not being financially compensated for the work you're doing. This is a card of understanding how to balance out the scales. Maybe it's understanding that you might not give as much as you are used to. Maybe it's focusing on filling up your own cup first before you show up and give so much. This is super important right now, yet I feel like this is a situation where maybe this is a relationship or a job matter where you're not seeing that return on investment. You're not seeing that being reciprocated to you. I want you to reflect and take a step back and see how you could change your energy. See how you can focus on taking care of yourself first before you give more. Really good to consider right now. We also got the Hierophant for this week, which actually makes sense with Capricorn season beginning later this week. So the Hierophant wants us to really understand tradition in a different way. Yes, it's great to respect someone. Yes, it is understanding how you can lead and take ownership of your life. Yet the Hierophant wants us to understand and dismantle the current systems of power right now. Are you being afraid of what your family thinks? Are you hyper focused on this? Are you losing your sense of authenticity because of this? Do you need to protect yourself when it comes to family obligations or family circumstances? Maybe it's setting boundaries for yourself when it comes to your family of which topics you'll talk about or what you need to do if a situation escalates. Keep this in mind. I also see the Hierophant as us stepping into our power and seeing, okay, which systems are currently working for me and which ones do I need to change, which makes a lot of sense with the Mars retrograde right now. I know that's not heavily focused on systems, but it is focused on how we work. So really good to consider. I asked what our block is this week. We got the Eight of Swords. So this is a time for us to really catch ourselves if we're overthinking, really see that we're not seeing the full picture. Maybe the situation isn't as bad as you think it is, and this is a card to remind us to take off our blindfold. Maybe you're avoiding a certain situation because it's worse in your head. I want you to ask yourself, what is the best case scenario? How can you tune into the best case scenario right now? So I do see this energy as us overthinking and just being so wrapped up in anxiety. So I asked us, how do we get out of this? And we got the Knight of Cups. So this is more love, more compassion, more nurturing ourselves, more self-care. This is a beautiful energy of us really moving forward and seeing the situation of how would I react from a place of love? Am I reacting to the situation from fear? Am I reacting to the situation because I'm stressed? Or am I reacting in the situation based on pure love and comfort? So if you're in a situation where you're just feeling stressed out, you're just feeling overwhelmed, there's just so much anxiety, take time to calm your nervous system. Take time to nurture yourself and take care of yourself and tell yourself you're loved and you're safe and you're worthy, and show up in that situation with the eyes of love. Really great reminder. Our oracle cards are curiosity. When I pulled this card, I also heard active listening. So maybe this is just going into an environment and being curious, being excited to learn more about a certain person or a community, or being curious about the next stages of your growth. But also active listening in terms of this. So maybe it's asking questions, but really soaking in that knowledge. The next oracle card is Emerge. So I do see this week as a lot lighter than the previous week. To be honest, I think this is going to be a week where we're feeling a bit lighter. We're feeling like we can step things up in terms of being seen, in terms of putting ourselves out there. And if you still feel like things are a bit wonky, or you're just not sure about what's happening, or you're just confused with that Sun square to Neptune, the last card out is It's All for a Reason. So just know it's happening for a reason. So I love that card. I love that we end off in this note. And if you'd like a private 2025 reading with me, I'll leave a link to that down below for February. And if you want help in growing your wellness or creative business in 2025, and you really want to make use of the astrology of 2025 for your benefit, check out my Boldest You mentorship. I'll leave more details for it down below. Thank you so much for listening, friend. I'm sending you so much love. Just remember, the universe has your back, and with peace and love, take care.